Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's December 5th, and I took a trade today. I've got a lot to talk about today. I think that camera placement's good. Alright, so I'm on the 15-minute chart right now, and this is today's price. This right here, after, I don't really know what happened. I traded the morning session, and the morning session is also pretty choppy. Today's price was honestly weird as fuck, but there's a really good high time frame narrative in here with the power of 3 model. I did another video on that like a couple days ago, and the model reared its head again, but this time it did it in a different way, and there's a lot to study from it. I don't know, I had to adjust. Alright, I'll start with the high time frame stuff. This is today right here. So this is the 4-hour chart. We've been going up. Heavy uptrend, obviously. We've already swept all times on both of these now. So I'm kind of looking for it to start coming down a little bit soon. Regardless, though, today, this isn't really strong. I mean, it's still inching its way up. There's not like giant fair value gaps or anything in here today. There's a 4-hour, really tiny 4-hour in here. I marked it out on the S&P. I think I'm going to delete it, though. It doesn't really mean too much, but as you guys look at this, I did take a win today. I had 2 entries, but then I exited one early because I realized what was happening, and then I caught the move down. So I don't know, I'm just gonna delete all this. I really don't know what the fuck happened here. I don't know why it came all the way back up after forming a power of 3 model right here with accumulation, manipulation at both of these highs, and then it distributed downward, but the market decided to jump back up again and sweep absolutely nothing because we just made that high. Price has been really fucking weird the past couple days. I haven't really been losing it all, but I've been hearing that it's fucking weird. Yesterday I missed a move, and honestly I haven't been seeing too many moves like the past couple days. Bruh, ain't no way my... Alright, sorry about that. Bro! I'm gonna delete this because I didn't trade this at all. I got my bread and got the fuck out of there before price started showing its December fucking patterns or whatever. I'll show you all the news for the day real quick. I look like a ghost. Unemployment claims 7:30. This is like the best kind of news. The one that's like an hour before market open, because I start trading like 10 minutes before market open, then I see usually like 10 to 20 minutes after market open. 8:50 especially. That's usually when the moves come along. I don't ever trade before market open though, so this news I'm happy. But going into today, prior to 8:30 or 9:30 for New York folks, it had not swept this higher time frame high right here on either of them. Okay, so we've been in this little accumulation right here. 8:30, it shot up and it swept it. Only on NASDAQ though. You can see right here, these 2 points in time were the same exact areas. Okay, so I'm thinking, alright, NASDAQ swept the high time frame liquidity and it's a power of 3 setup. And there's going to be an SMT, maybe. So it starts coming down and I enter like right about here. I'll move this. And after about 2 minutes or so, the S&P comes down and it's just sitting there and it's chopping and it doesn't even sweep all this shit down here. And it comes down and I'm like, alright, well, I don't even think this thing's going to go down. Price action we just saw, if you look at here on NASDAQ, when it was coming down, it wasn't making any imbalances at all. It was just making clean, like fully or like equally delivered price. There's no FEGs in this price when it's coming back down from this. This is like low resistance liquidity compared to like if it swept this and then manipulated, or not manipulated, if it swept that and then just shot down like a rocket. So I'm looking at this for a little bit. It's not doing anything. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna exit. If it breaks structure again, I might enter. If it doesn't, then oh well, you know, it's fine. We'll catch the next one. But I thought it was gonna SMT. At least I thought it was a possibility, like right around here. And it ended up doing just that. Alright, I'll show you all the SMTs. Okay, first off, NASDAQ also came down and swept this low right here. This wasn't the main low I was targeting. I was targeting the low right here and then the low right here, because these are equal on the S&P. I was only looking for trades on the S&P, period. Even though this is the same model, I was only looking for lows on this one because it has the best liquidity targets and these are relative equals. Even if there's an SMT or something like that, if I think this is going to get swept and that's what I'm confident in, then that's the only chart I'm going to take the trade on. I mean, risk to reward is sometimes hard to get, but honestly, just taking what you're confident in is better, and it worked out for me this time. But basically, this is just uncorrelated price for like this whole part. NASDAQ starting to make its way down, then the S&P rockets back up. So now we have an SMT right here in this power of 3 model after we've manipulated. And I was just sitting here eyeing these lows right here. There's also a fair value gap right in here, a little like 4-hour one. You can see that this price is not really very clean, so those are good targets. If there's like relative equals next to a fair value gap, price draws to that and sweeps it a lot of times. It's a very good liquidity target because it's like 2 birds in 1 stone. Alright, so after this comes up, again, more choppy price. The NASDAQ is making higher highs, and it makes this higher high. The S&P is making lower lows, and right about here, I was wanting to just blanket short this. Just short it, put my stop somewhere above here, in case I wanted to fuck around even more, but I didn't end up doing that. But then it shot down on the 1 minute time frame, and it ended up right about here, and I'm like, all right, well, considering the last few days, this thing tends to not really retrace at all when it's about to make a move. If price is bad, it rarely ever retraces and doesn't deliver cleanly. It doesn't go to equilibrium, doesn't do any of that shit. Often it consolidates and then expands like that out of nowhere, just for no apparent reason. I don't really know why, but some days are just like this. It's just bad price. I don't really know. So you kind of got to be careful. But we had a higher time frame narrative today in that it was going to sweep this and then come back down to these lows. So I was standing on business here and I entered, put my stop loss right up here, and it hit. And it swept these lows. And don't ask me about the fucking rest of the day, because I don't really know what happened the rest of the day. I just turned the charts off. But takeaways from this: power of 3, accumulation, manipulation comes up here. There's an SMT as well, and then distribution coming back down to these lows, and then NASDAQ swept this low as well. All right, some key takeaways from this. As far as my first entry, why I exited, why I assumed that it was going to SMT, if you look at this price action right here, this is not pointing down. This is just chopping around right here, and it's taking its time up here. It's just sitting around, it's hanging out up here. That means that it's way easier to come up and sweep this shit if it wanted to SMT. NASDAQ's a different story. NASDAQ has hella fair value gaps. This is like cleanly delivered displacement. This is not. This is consolidation that could easily get swept. And that's why I exited my early position. It was like break even. I exited right when I entered, and I was in the position. I was just looking at it. I'm like, no, this shit is not it. It didn't even come down and sweep all this, and it was just dropping around. So I exited. I'm like, all right, I'll enter after this SMTs right here. It's bad price, so I was just kind of sticking to the higher time frame narrative, and it ended up paying off. Alright, I'm going to put this little segment in here, just going into more detail for the kinds of market maker models that you can run into. In this one, I've drawn them out right here. Pretend that this one on the left is the NASDAQ, this one on the right is the S&P, etc. So you've got your high time frame or medium time frame liquidity target on the left side right here. And it's basically just like a power 3 model, and they both are synchronous, and they're both moving in sync, and they basically sweep at the same time. If they're delivering cleanly, they're moving together in tandem, and they sweep liquidity at basically the same time, and then they start displacing down. This is like a standard liquidity sweep model, but it doesn't always work, and you can get caught up. And right here I've shown a masterpiece. I've been studying price for a little bit, and this is something that you can run into a lot. Okay, and we've got the same portion of time right here. Basically, the NASDAQ or vice versa will sweep liquidity first. Okay, high time frame liquidity, and then it'll start going down, and you think, oh well, maybe it could be like a higher time frame SMT. Well, maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's gonna SMT again. And then after the NASDAQ sweeps, it goes down and makes a lower low. Well, after the S&P sweeps and starts going down, and you enter because you thought it was a higher time frame SMT, even if it breaks structure and all that, makes a higher leg, then it sweeps it, and then they both go down. That's something that happens a lot. Maybe it doesn't even SMT. Maybe the NASDAQ just makes 2 higher highs right after sweeping liquidity when the S&P only needs 1 to get up there. So now you've got enter off the liquidity sweep, and then you get stopped out because it wants to go sweep internal again to get the other one there. Sometimes that happens in slow price, and I've taken losses to stuff like this, and it's pretty fucking annoying. The only way to avoid it is just being patient, honestly. If you have a higher time frame bias, you can keep your entries more higher scale, or put on blanket entries if you want. Maybe put your stop loss like way above, or you could just not do anything at all, not really trading it. A lot of the times though, with these two markets, if they are trading together, usually you'll be looking at both of them, and sometimes it'll go to sweep something and one of them will get there first, and then the other one won't be there, but then they'll start going down a little bit, or I don't know, they'll start doing whatever. Sometimes it's an SMT, sometimes it's not, but a lot of the time one of them is just a lot slower than the other, and it does end up getting there. So high time frame bias is obviously, or daily bias or whatever, is pretty much key to all that stuff. Obviously, if I'm like itching to put a short on and it's a long bias, and Nasdaq sweeps before the S&P does, and then I break structure, I don't think that would be a good trade just to enter off of that, because it's against the bias and it's a premature entry on a liquidity sweep, and you don't know if that's really an SMT yet. Today we had a lot of SMTs, but yeah, that's it for my little diagram here. So I don't really know. I dodged like half a bullet today. If I entered that position and it instantly came up on me, I would have just sat there for a little bit. But then if it made that SMT afterward that I just saw now, I probably would have entered again at half risk. But if you re-enter with like half risk, if price is very clean, I guess that's acceptable. I don't really know. I don't re-enter like that, because if you're wrong and like bad price like this and you re-enter again right after, the market could just fuck you in like 1 day's time and your entire account could just be blown. So that's why like I sit on my hands most of the time after I take a loss. But I did catch the move. W day. I'm sorry if you guys lost today. I could see how this could fuck up a lot of y'all. I don't even know what's going on in the rest of this. I just want to stay away from what that is. But we do have a pretty good model to maybe start going bearish a little bit. Fill in all this, maybe tap into this right here. Just basically retracing, because we've been expanding a good bit the past couple days. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow, Powell speaking. No, it's non-farm employment change. Powell's not speaking tomorrow. He spoke yesterday, and price wasn't too bad. There's like one SMT in there. Well, no, price was pretty bad. There was like one trade in there though that I saw. I ended up missing it because I didn't get trade evade open fast enough, because I'm a fucking lard head, and I was pretty sad about that. But I'm chilling. I'm thankful for today. Tomorrow's the last trading day of the week. I'm kind of skeptical. Maybe if we've had bad price all week, we might have good price tomorrow. I don't know if that's how it works. Maybe. But next week, hopefully, will be better than this. Fuck, we have CPI and PPI. Never mind. Alright, that's pretty much it for today. There's a lot of stuff to go on, but the big thing is like Power 3, honestly. Power 3 clutched up today. That's pretty much it, boys. If I trade tomorrow, I will post a recap. If I don't trade tomorrow, then you'll see me next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this little recap right here. That's pretty much it, though. Alright, I'll see y'all. Peace.